Welcome to another episode of the Armchair Crew Chief. My name is Jordan, and I hope you guys had a great 4th of July holiday. It's one of the great times to be alive, be an American, celebrating our independence. And we have more NASCAR coming up, and we had our famous Nathan's Hot Dog eating contest. It wasn't the same without Joey Chestnut there, but let's go ahead and move back on to why we are all here with our NASCAR. So last weekend we were at Nashville Superspeedway, and everybody ran, all three series ran. And let's go ahead and jump right into our qualifying for Truck Series. We had Stuart Friesen, Grant Enfinger, Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, and Raja Caruth were our top five, with Friesen getting the pole. And then from there, stage one was Eckes, Riggs, Heim, Enfinger, Daniel Dye. Stage two, Eckes, Corey Heim, Raja Caruth, Daniel Dye, Grant Enfinger. And then kind of going over this race, this was actually, I believe, the first time in a while. I don't remember the actual time frame of it, but Christian Eckes won the race. He led all laps, 150 laps of it. Daniel Dye got second, Corey Heim third, Raja Caruth fourth, Tyler Ankrum fifth, Grant Enfinger sixth, Ben Rhodes seventh, Matt Mills eighth, Ty Majeski ninth. So we did have a one of those races where one person pretty much ran away with it. I mean, he led 150 laps. Nobody else led any laps. So that was one of the big things there is, that we're used to seeing, especially like with a Kyle Busch or somebody. Now we have Christian Eckes coming out here and doing it. And we're about to finish up on the regular season for our Truck Series and go from there. Moving on to the Xfinity race, the Tennessee Lottery 250. We had our qualifying, our top five. Austin Hill got fifth, AJ Allmendinger fourth, Ryan Sieg third, Cole Custer second, Ty Gibbs first. Moving on to the end of stage one, top five, Allgaier fifth, Custer, Jones, Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs. Stage two, top five, we had Chandler Smith, Ty Gibbs, Cole Custer, AJ Allmendinger second, and John Hunter Nemechek first. This is one of those that we had somebody win that has won before, and unfortunately somebody that is not getting points, so that kind of skews that again. I don't understand why they don't try to change these things up. But, you gotta kind of feel for these guys. Some of these guys, like, in the 18 with Sheldon Creed, and, he hasn't been able to get it done. After leaving RCR, I mean, even at RCR, he still had issues and couldn't get anything done. But he's one of those guys that has put it out there and still hasn't been able to finish. He finishes second, quite a few times. And then the other finishes too that he's had either issues or wrecks out. He had a very strong running this time. He finished in the top 10 after starting 38th pretty much for having engine issues. Only to have engine issues at the end. He started at the back and then able to come forward. RCR had, everybody had weather challenges, and they finished third and fourth. So they're still keeping it rolling. It's not the wins like Austin Hill's been getting, but it's pretty darn close. And somebody else that had issues, because it was pretty hot this past weekend. AJ Allmendinger finished seventh, followed by Allgaier, but Riley Hurst had a cool suit malfunction and still finished. And we had some guys in the Cup Series had that as well. But just moving on, so our finish of the race, we had top five: Noah Gragson, Austin Hill, Jesse Love, Chandler Smith, and John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter led 75 of the laps Out of the 188 laps that they ran, he led that. And then Cole Custer led 64. Ty Gibbs 48. So John Hunter came back and took that car. He had his teammate run second. Chandler Smith's been having a heck of a year. Same thing with Jesse Love. Jesse Love hasn't really translated it too much in that too. The only person I feel for mostly is Sheldon Creed, because he was doing really well last year, and he's just struggling this year. And I don't know what it is really, except for the fact that he just can't get it done, unfortunately. So we had that going on. Haley Deegan finished 28th. Matty D finished 29th. Sammy Smith 30th. So that was pretty much the Xfinity race. And moving on to the Cup Series race, in our qualifying, we had our top 5 were Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Josh Berry, Denny Hamlin. Josh Berry did a really good showing here in the 4, and it was just Denny Hamlin had the speed, and that's what it took, obviously. But moving on to Stage 1. Stage 1 finished top 5 were Brad Kay, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell. Our Stage 2 ending were Brad Kay, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell. So the top 5 only changed position. We're talking 3 of them changed position. Denny went down 2 spots, and everybody else went up from Reddick and Larson. There was rain that caused us a break. I think it was at halfway. Right before halfway, it was the rain delay that we had, and man, it poured. They did not test tires here, so we do not have a wet weather package, however you want to call it. We did not have that here. We had some guys like Logano sat there, and he decided to short pit the first stage. That ended up not working for him. He ended up getting wrecked after that. He did get wrecked a little bit. I'm pretty sure it was Logano. But yeah, because he finished 21st out of Stage 2. And then you had some of these other cautions and back and forth, and the guys were running low on fuel towards the end. I believe it was like Truex was up there, Denny was up there, Blaney was up there. Blaney ended up calling it and going in for fuel, and then Truex and Hamlin went in as well. The question is, and this is the big question that's come up with this race, and some people argue that he managed it because he was so far in the back. Our winner of our race went 110 laps on 1 tank of fuel. Something tells me something doesn't jive with that. I don't care if you want to tell me that, hey, he had this, had X, Y, and Z, whatever. It just doesn't seem right, because he had enough fuel to even go and do burnouts. And it's just like, he said, and well, let's go ahead and get towards our top 10 here. It was really kind of mustered around because of our guys running out of fuel. Some of these guys running out of fuel. We also had people like I'm sorry, I just drew a blank. Suarez taking out Truex. I mean, he drove right through him and wrecked him. We had, Kyle Larson kind of taking out Ross Chastain, I believe. And so anyway, our top 5 for this race: Chris Buescher finished 5th, Ryan Preece 4th. This is what I'm talking about with all these this being kind of a fuel mileage race. You're going to see people like Preece. I wouldn't expect Preece to be up there in a normal run. Then you had Reddick. Zane Smith got 2nd, another driver. And then Joey Logano won the race. Joey Logano won the race without getting fuel, 110 laps, when normal running is 80 laps. People will argue that he was in the back fuel saving and drafting a lot. I can believe that if it was only like 10 laps or so, but 20 plus laps, 30 laps, because I think the fuel window was like 80 to 88. So, I mean, he's running 20 over and restarts, throttling up, and then he got to the front, and he claims that his fuel light came on and he sputtered a little bit in turn 3. I don't know. Something's fishy there in that 22 car that it just doesn't jive when you think about it in my brain on what's going on. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that are like, oh, well, he sat there and he was in the back, he was drafting, he wasn't spending too much fuel. I get that. Like I said, I get that for adding 5 laps or something like that, 10 laps, not the 20 plus laps that he had to add to continue this race and finish it. So, I call bull plop on that one. I don't know. And then they say he still had enough. I think he had plenty of fuel in that car. I think something was there. Something seemed fishy. And it's not going to be investigated because we're already moved on. So, that's the big thing that I saw that made me question things. Moving on to news that has happened. We have a new driver. We have one of the Stewart-Haas gentlemen, we'll call him, moving on to another team next year. We have a rumor about one. We have one of the drivers in Xfinity that we follow on this page, in this podcast, that their future is uncertain now. So let's go ahead and dive into that. The first one that is steady news is Josh Berry will now replace Josh Berry, I am all over the place right now. Josh Berry will replace in that 21 Wood Brothers car. He is going to be going there. Harrison Burton is out. So that is one of the big changes that we see. We're going to see next year is Berry going over there. We still have Noah Gragson and Ryan Preece. Those are the 2 drivers out of Stewart-Haas camp that do not have a ride. I honestly don't see Ryan Preece getting a ride in Cup Series, maybe in Xfinity, but not in Cup Series. There have been rumors that Noah Gragson is going to RCR driving the 29. I could not fully confirm that from what I've seen. So, if that's the case, I don't know about that one, because RCR is, you got Austin Hill in the wings, but then you have, you got these other guys out there, like, he's got Kyle Busch and he's got Austin Hill. Is he gonna let Austin Dillon go and let Austin and Gragson go into 3? I don't know. I don't think Austin Dillon has pulled enough weight of his own to do this. I also saw something about a rumor where, it looked like, and this could be all complete false because there's a lot of haters on Bubba. I don't really care for him as a driver, but I'm not going to do a lot of the nonsense people do with him. But, Denny's come up and said, you have to perform or we're not going to renew type thing too. So that's one of those, I could see that happening though. As competitive as 2311 wants to be, and you have the 45 out there running, why not? So those are our rumors going on. Other big rumor it's not really a rumor, but in Xfinity, Joey Logano is going to be replacing Hailie Deegan in the AM Racing car, in the 15. I'm pretty sure it's for the rest of the season. It's fully not known with what's going to happen with Hailie Deegan. She has removed AM Racing off of her Twitter, and she has not performed well. She's underperformed, and we have, she's been struggling ever since the Xfinity race, the truck racing, where it's felt to believe that she just got babied and didn't let her do her thing, and it kind of handcuffed her a little bit, for lack of a better term. I think she's a good driver. I just don't think she's good enough or she hasn't proved herself yet. So, with that being said, maybe Hailie can get another ride, or maybe she drops down and goes back, kind of like some of these other guys have done in the past, where they show back up and then they start performing. I don't know. I think she needs a little bit more work and how everything's going to be. And hopefully maybe get somebody that can teach her better and not just baby her. Let her go make mistakes and say, hey, what did you do wrong? I don't know. But unfortunately, I think Xfinity is done for Hailie Deegan, so we'll see what happens there and move on with that one. So let's go ahead and dive into our race weekend. This weekend we have Chicago Street Race. Chicago Street Race, our racing starts Saturday at 10 Eastern. We have practice on USA. Xfinity is going to be qualifying at 11 on USA. Then we have Cup Series 12:30 and 1:30 practice and qualifying. USA MRN's got the broadcast on the radio with SiriusXM simulcasting it. Then the Loop 110 3:30 Eastern on NBC with MRN and SiriusXM. Moving on to Sunday, we have the Grant Park 165 at 4:30 Eastern. That will be on NBC. MRN has the radio broadcast with SiriusXM simulcasting that. So that is our weekend. Can SVG repeat? We have a couple other guys out there and see what they can do, and then see if maybe a couple of our NASCAR regulars can go out there. Hopefully it's not going to be raining. Didn't really check the weather to see what's going to happen there. And hopefully, I don't think we're going to be getting torrential downpours like we did before. That was pretty ridiculous and crazy. I think some of that was just due to the track and putting it there and blocking some of the rain. But who knows? Let's check out and see what our forecast is real quick before we dive in to who we think is going to win this race. If the weather will actually load for me, it is taking its dear old sweet time. Anyway, moving on. We'll talk about it. I'd like to see SVG win this race again. I don't know what will happen. I don't think any of these other guys, I think we have Hand going in the race for RFK. I don't think these guys are going to win. Some people think Justin Haley's going to win this race. I mean, he was right there last year. I think we're going to have maybe... I could see SVG doing it again. Maybe Allmendinger. They're going to be running the college camp. Everybody, Hendrick's probably going to have their hands in it somewhere too. So you have that. But I'd like to see the potential of this race without any rain and how it can handle itself. Because that wasn't a true test of this race. I'm on the fence about the whole street course racing and how that'll play out with just because it's Chicago. There's not a lot of fan base there that I've seen. I mean, they've got a lot of fans that go to this race, but the question is, are we trying to get more community involvement so we got a lot of people coming in or what? I don't know. But I don't know. Let's put it this way. I don't think I would want to go to Chicago to watch a race. A street race, I think it'd be kind of cool to watch. I don't think these cars are really designed for as much road racing as we're doing. And don't get me wrong on that one. I like the road racing. I just don't think adding more road racing to this is going to be necessary. And taking away from some of the good tracks, I don't know. But, because we keep stuff like Texas still and Michigan and whatnot. But looking at our weather here, looks like we're going to have some clear skies. Sunday, 84 and 70s for the lows, 60, 77 Saturday. So, yeah, we got some good weather coming up for this race. We'll see how it plays out. I'm going to go ahead and stick with SVG to repeat. And my second winner was going to be probably Kyle Larson. So that's who I have. Also, in other news, I forgot to mention this. This is totally on me, guys. Hooters and the 9 car have parted ways on the sponsorships. Hooters is no longer a sponsor of Chase Elliott and the 9 car with Hendrick Motorsports. So just keep that in mind. If you have any Hooters gear, it's going to be rare now. So moving on from there, next week we have Pocono, and we will be there Thursday. We'll try to do something special out there maybe. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this extended holiday weekend, and for everybody working, be safe out there, and hopefully nobody lost any fingers yesterday with fireworks. So we will see you guys next time, and I hope you have a good one.